Tune in to me watching Gully TV. I have a special guest. This is actually a new look for Gully TV. This is one of my, I had a female reciprocal in a minute. I think Miss T was the last one. Tara Wallace, welcome to Gully TV.
Thank you for having me. And because of that, you know, I went through the list of all I could find on Gully TV, and I didn't see many women. So I'm nervous.
You're in good company.
Okay.
It's you, Moni Love. Shout out to Moni Love, the legend. And Miss T, I think it's not a lot. So this is groundbreaking for us. First things first, tell me something about yourself. Where you from?
I'm originally from Macomb, Mississippi.
From the SIP.
Right. So I have to also say, being from Macomb, that's the nearest town. Our house was actually in JS, Mississippi. Don't want to get in any trouble there. So I'm from the country.
Okay, from the country. So you're a big deal when you go back home.
Sometimes, but you know, people got used to me this summer. I would spend a lot of time in Walmart, just popping up at people's houses. You know, I'm like the same person.
Tell me how did you meet Peter Gunz?
I met Peter because I was working in a store called Sam Ash, and at that time, you know, if you were in the music industry in any way, you had to visit Sam Ash.
Okay. To
get something, you know. So I met him there, actually. A guy was like, you know, who just rang up Peter Gunz, and I'm like, I don't know. You know, I'm late to hip hop and the culture, and I'm a late bloomer, right? I remember my brothers playing Eazy-E when my dad wasn't around, but that's all I remember.
Right.
And that was about the most, you know, and obviously, you know, Run DMC and LL Cool J, but outside of that, I didn't get much.
Okay.
So I was like, I don't know, who's Peter Gunz? And then he pointed him out. I'm like, oh, I do remember seeing him Tigger in the basement or something.
All right.
Yeah.
You remember him from the basement. The nigga from the basement.
Yeah, I remember. So that's about all I remember, but I didn't remember the song. And at that time, I'm a college student. So if you were in the Village, there were all these consignment shops.
Okay.
So you could just find old CDs, and that would be a thing, right? My friends and I would get together. We'd go to all these like record consignment. These consignment stores that sold old CDs or records. And I was early to class one day, and I was like, there was a consignment store across the street. I went over and bought the album.
Okay.
And then that's kind of how it started. Like
what school did you go to?
I went to Jackson State for undergrad, but then I went to the new school for acting, which is a part of the inside the actor studio.
What was Jackson State like?
Oh, Jackson State was wild.
You know Deion Sanders down there now?
Yes, I know.
Shout out to Prime
We
Time.
need that. We needed that. We needed that prime time. We needed, you know, people go off, right, and they become successful.
Right.
And HBCUs who produce successful people is so imperative that we go back and build that, and
man.
we need that, and just the struggle and the, you know, watching the camp. Like I went this summer, I didn't even recognize the campus. I was like, shit, it's changed so much, and we thought we were so far ahead when I was there. I mean, at least I did.
Right.
And so the fact that he's there, I mean, I just think it's phenomenal. You know, it's a time where we need it the most. Jackson State needs it the most.
No doubt. Tell me about the historic Black college experience before we go off into this. Tell me
listen, it is like the Black college experience. It's like, I'm always an advocate for it. I'm like, just send your kid to a Black school. If they don't want to go to school, just send them. Like, I think college is so imperative, not just for the fact that there's an education that has to be gotten. You have those people that say, well, well, is it going to give me a job? It's going to give me that. Like, the fact that the interpersonal communication skills is so imperative when you leave high school, and I think that for that alone, people when they leave school need to be in college.
No doubt.
Like, they are not ready to communicate. They don't even know how, even if they're talented, right? They don't even know how to communicate their talents in such a way. They don't know how to, you know, just articulate them in such a way to present themselves, no matter what high school you go to. I think that it's so imperative for especially Black kids to go to school and experience that.
No doubt. So it's safe to say you feel that there's a bridge between an adolescent and going off into the real world. It's college.
Well, especially college for me is like that conduit that gets you over from leaving, you know, what you know, that security of your parents.
Right.
that bridge that carries you over into adulthood. And I think that is where you kind of learn responsibility. It's where you learn the consequence of your actions. It's where you learn, okay, there's no one babying you and sugarcoating it here. So, but it's still a safe environment for them to do such.
Right.
So I think for that alone, college is important and worth the grands that you spend.
Okay. I'm mad that you used conduit. I was going to use it, and I thought about it, and you fucked around and dropped it on me,
Use it. It's okay.
Because I'm the wordsmith here, and you just
See,
dropped it on me,
I'm not.
Okay, so, all right, you college educated. You found, is it safe to say that you rediscovered hip-hop once you came up north?
Well, I believe that I was introduced to it in a way, with no type of knowledge of beef or who didn't like who, or
right.
If you live in the Bronx, you don't go to Brooklyn. If you live in Brooklyn, you don't go to the Bronx.
Right.
The beef between what was happening in LA and what was happening in New York. I think I just got an opportunity to experience it from just a very basic knowledge of what it's bringing to the culture of Black people and people telling the story in such a way. Mm-hmm. Also, I remember in college, my first boyfriend was from Detroit, and he was a huge Tupac fan. Okay. But his roommate was a huge Biggie fan.
Okay.
So All Eyes on Me was like, my anthem on my way to school,
Right.
And so it was just like from a very, I don't know what all of this is about, but it's amazing. And where have I been in JS, Mississippi, that this has been kept from me?
It is amazing. Yeah. Hip hop. Yeah, it saved a lot of people's lives too. Let's talk about the show briefly. Love and hip hop. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that there's a real correlation between hip hop music and the show?